Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and squirrels from another world. Oh my God. Something really has gone funky with StreamYard. I've lost everything in the background of the whole thing. I don't know what the hell just happened. It's weird. It's weird. Like maybe if I restart it or something, it'll all come back up. I have no idea. Hello, Rabbit. Hello, Rabbit. It's good to see you. Ah, it was like double vision. It could go either way. Cyanide. No, no. Don't. Volume is a little low. Well, there is nothing I can really do about that right at this moment. There are some really weird things going on. Give me just a second and see if everything is working right. Yeah, I've got it. I haven't made any changes. StreamYard is acting funky. Let's see if this is. Ah, there it is. Ah, I have found it. I don't know what the hell was going on. Weirdest thing. Weirdest thing. Well, hopefully it's working a little better. I can't do much about the sound. More like StreamYard I am. Well, no, there's other weird things going on with this. I don't know. It's crazy tonight. Probably because they knew what I was going to be streaming about. Ooh. We're going to be talking about a little bit of them there cults. These we're going to talk about some that are a little less known. And I'm thinking I'll probably delve into them a little bit deeper. Am I ever going to shave that thing on your face? Oh, come on, Darth. Come on, Darth. It's absolutely fine. I'm happy with it. I mean, if you don't like it, that's okay. I'm not going to be making out with you. My wife is fine with it. She actually enjoys a little bit of that bearded man just giving her some love. Hey, good to see you, Robert. Good to see you. Good to see you, T-Rex. Got T-Rex in here. Man, oh man, oh man. Got Vicky T hanging out. I hope you're enjoying your strawberry drive. You know why you're getting so many strawberries being shipped around. It's because everything sort of came into bloom early. Not your place to judge. You'll judge anyway, but that's okay. That's okay. Remember, save the whales. Use baby oil. I still have that up on there. I did that just out of pure shits and giggles. Yeah, it's quite fun to do a little bit of the weird stuff. More babies for the presses, right? I mean, come on. You know, you don't need to have you don't need to be worried so much about it. Oh no, it's been a good day. Been a good day. Got a good amount of rest last night, which was really, really needed. I had I had managed to keep myself up way too late hanging out with the expert and Valhalla and oh god, Melissa Jane was in there and oh Squaw Bob was in there. I'm trying to think there was one other person. I believe it was Texas Texas Jen. Yeah, I think it was Texas Jen was in there also. It was fun. It was fun. We had a really nice long chat and until expert faded, Valhalla faded, and then both Melissa Jane and I faded out also. Gotta have Melissa Jane on here sometime. I know she's got a different time schedule than I do, so it makes it a little more difficult for that. Managed to keep myself up. Hey, the pills really help. The little blue pills really help. Help keep you up. Nothing to eat. It's a school aid not laced with cyanide. Oh, yes. Dorothy idiot. Oh, you two are so much fun. So much fun. No, I was as a creator, I guess you could call me a creator. I don't know if I'm really creating anything or just reading random shit on the internet out loud to a bunch of other people that are hanging out randomly with me. That might be it. Might be it. It's just their foreplay. Yes, I know. I know. So I started, as far as doing this kind of stuff, you want to make something that's interesting, something that other people can possibly relate to. I don't know. I don't know. No, it's four. It's four, Darth. Like four. Like your 4 inches of clay. See? And he even adds his own touch to everything he does. Oh, yes. Usually it's just a bunch of F slurs. Exactly. So I was like, well, why don't I just talk about things that really interest me? Josie is discovering the secrets of late night talk radio. I guess so. I don't know about late night. I don't know about late night. Hey, Texas Jen, good to see you. Good to see you. Wonderful, wonderful evening. Wonderful evening. But there was back whenever I was, in my teens, cults were a big thing. There was all these concerns of satanic cults and the devil's music was going to bring us all down and there was these horrible satanists that were going to take your children. They were sacrificing animals out in the woods and all these weird crazy things. Everybody was seeing pentagrams everywhere and it was the weird age of this horrible thing called the devil coming to get you. Devil was in the music. Anybody remember Footloose? It and it really wasn't like that. Um, there weren't really those kinds of cults out there. I mean, there were, but they were far and few between. It wasn't this horrible thing that everybody makes it out to be. The devil's music really wasn't devil's music, and it was a little more chill than people thought. But the bad ones that were out there in those times, oh, They were definitely out there, and they were a little creepy, a little creepy. And I see we've got some people over there on Rumble. Greetings, Rumble folks. I am streaming also on Rumble. So that way, if you whenever I hit a certain spot here, I may switch it over to Rumble, but we'll see. We shall see. It may end up becoming just a Rumble only. It all depends on how far into the hellhole I go. No pun intended. I got to shut some of these windows down because it will overwhelm me. It will overwhelm me. Give me just a second, trying to get all of this set up on my pooter because it gets pretty hectic and busy. Erection cult, huh? Oh yes, I hit that certain spot. Oh wait, he said pun, didn't he? Yes. Girls just want to have fun, Darth. Girls just want to have fun. You know it. Have 50,000 tabs open? No, actually, I really don't. It's amazing the small amount of tabs that I actually do have open. I was trying to get Rumble set up to make sure that it was you know, we're going to run smooth for me. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. I actually had one pulled up that was the most important one. Oof, that's really strange. There we go. Where is it? Okay. Let me get this one right here. It's not in there. Ah, there we go. And I had the tab open and then closed it. Isn't that awesome? Gotta get that pooter again. Yeah, gotta get that pooter going. It's always having a hard time with it. Always having a hard time with it. So what we've got here is share this little screen, and I think that's it right there. Yep. And so what I did was I pulled up the worst cults that you've never heard of. Well, and it's a possibility that you may have heard of some of these. And this was published on the Dark Side of Psychology on Medium by E.B. Johnson. Oh, she's quite attractive. So she started talking about this. Cults are a fascinating thing, especially from a psychological point of view. Using an array of tools, cult leaders can manipulate their followers into doing horrifying and incredible things. It's easy to understand our fascination with cults. They showcase both the dark side of the human psyche and our own strange weakness and follies of both mind and spirit. While we might be familiar with cults like the Manson family and Synanon, there are other smaller cults that often escape notice. Often. Not always, but often will escape notice. So keep that in mind. Some of these you may have never even heard of, and some of them are still around. Some of them still exist. And I can always do a little bit of a deeper dive in future episodes. That's funny. I just looked and I've got -1 concurrent viewers. Oh, that's so awesome. That is so awesome. I just happened to see that come popping up. So there's a lot to be learned from these cults, both ourselves and the truth of our natures too. The worst cults you never heard of. When we take a look at smaller cults, we are led in on a secret world of manipulation, isolation, and escalating extremism. From nightmare cults like the Anthill Kids, amazing, amazing story on that one, to relatively benign order of the Solar Temple. When we face these social experiments for what they are, we face the truth of who we are as a species and as a society. So the Blackburn cult. Now, this is a really old one. The oldest cult on the list, the Blackburn cult, also known as the Divine Order of the Royal Arms of the Great 11. Amazing, huh? It was established in 1922 by Mary Otis Blackburn and her daughter Ruth Wyland Rickenbaugh Rizzo. After seeing what they believed to be angels. Okay, angels. Now that's a good one. Cult or religion? Well, you've heard of Scientology, though. And cult or religion? What about Alex Jones? Cult or news guy? I don't know. I don't know. Why don't we look up what it means to be what a cult is considered? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what is considered a cult. You put cult. No, he didn't do that. Someone did. The two women that Jesus would return to earth, even stranger than that. Oh, that's strange. Okay. These angels were going to lead them to lots of gold and oil. So they totaled 9 followers and 2 leaders. The cult set out for the Simi Valley, California. Once there, they set about building a small community for themselves, which was mostly composed of a few cabins and temples. All sorts of strange events and mysteries were attributed to the cult in their years in the Simi Valley. The body of a teenage girl was found under the floorboard of her parents' home. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that she had been involved in a cult. Well, it says in cult, but I'm going to say in the or a cult. Another horrifying incident, a woman was locked up in a brick oven as some sort of strange medical treatment. I don't know. Does that sound like a good medical treatment, locking a woman inside of a brick oven? That could be worthwhile. I mean, depends on what you're cooking. Hopefully not women. The cult was never conclusively proven to have been involved in the above murders. Well, they didn't say she was dead. They just said she was locked up. God, how horrible. But May Otis Blackburn was accused of fraud in 1929. A former member made a claim that she defrauded more than $50,000. When authorities got involved, it was discovered that she had actually defrauded her cult members out of more than $200,000, and she was convicted of the frauds in 1930, but was later released and moved to Lake Tahoe with the remaining members of her cult. Turns the Darth Gray. That would be interesting. So I started doing a little bit more digging on this particular cult because I thought it was something interesting. It's like, how do you end up with this very old cult like this? So here's what we did. Did a little bit of digging in here. The weird and twisted history of the Blackburn cult. Sex scandals, strange disappearances, and the attempted resurrection of a 16-year-old princess. So, this right here is, I assume, mom and daughter. They saw angels. So, in 1922, Bunker Hill in Los Angeles, California, May Otis Blackburn and her daughter, Ruth, began to receive revelations that came to them directly from the angels Gabriel and Michael. At least that's what was happening if you heard them tell it. According to Blackburn and her daughter, they were in fact the two witnesses first seen by John of Patmos in a vision described in the book of Revelation. Blackburn claimed that Gabriel and Michael were dictating a book that revealed all the secrets of the universe. Damn, that's some good drugs. Hey, just Dawn. Good to see you. Good to see you. You soulless ginger, you. When the book was completed, the seventh seal would break in heaven and an apocalyptic event would occur on earth. The book was going to be called The Seventh Trumpet of Gabriel, though the title was later changed to a slightly more evocative, The Great Sixth Seal. Blackburn and her daughter founded the religious group variously as the Divine Order of the Royal Arms of the Great 11, or more simply as the Great 11 Club or the Blackburn Cult. The Great 11 referred to a proclamation by May Blackburn that after the apocalypse, the world was left and would be ruled by 11 queens from mansions located in Olive Hill in Hollywood, on Olive Hill in Hollywood. Blackburn herself was sometimes referred to as the heel of God, more like the heel upside the head. Stay away from peyote. Bad idea. As they gathered followers, Blackburn and her daughter demanded tributes of money and property in order to finance and support their great work. Eventually, the cult retired from Los Angeles to a retreat in Southern California's Simi Valley. I don't know which one it is. Bring the peyote to me? No. Stay away. Drugs are bad, okay? Drugs are bad. Bad. Stay away from drugs, you little black asshole. Jesus. While the book that was supposed to have been the Sixth Great Seal was never published, May Blackburn did eventually publish a book called The Origin of God in 1936. The narrative contained elements of many of her previous revelations. By the time of its publication, however, the Blackburn cult had spun out of control, plagued by rumors of strange happenings and mysterious deaths. Samuel Rizzo, who was married to Ruth Blackburn, mysteriously went missing after allegedly striking his wife and was never heard from again. He was said to have been poisoned by May Blackburn, but his body was never found. A member of the cult itself, Frances Turner, a paralyzed woman, was allegedly placed in a sort of homemade oven for 2 days, resulting in her death. But perhaps the strangest story associated with the Blackburn cult was the attempted resurrection of Willa Rhodes. Hey, Just Dawn, Vicky. Oh, you guys are so awesome. And this is him. May Otis Blackburn's husband, the guy that supposedly hit his wife. He looks a little creepy. A 16-year-old princess of the cult, Rhodes had died under mysterious circumstances. Yes. Why wouldn't you? Police found her body 14 months later under the floorboards of her parents' house. She was practically mummified, her body wrapped with spices and salt and surrounded by the corpse of 7 dead dogs that had been sacrificed, presumably to help ensure her resurrection. If they would have just had that 8th one, doggone. Accompanying these chilling episodes were additional claims and accusations, sex scandals, animal sacrifices, whirling dervish ceremonies. Whirling dervish. What's a whirling dervish ceremony? Never heard. I've heard the whirling dervish. but I don't know exactly what a whirling dervish is. Hmm. Oh, okay. That makes sense. It's like one of those Russian things where they do that little whirling dervish. Yeah, gotcha. It's like Istanbul. You'd see it there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Ceremonies and disappearance of several other cult members. Yet, what ultimately landed May Otis Blackburn behind bars, however, briefly had little to do with the otherworldly. In 1929, Clifford Dabney, a former member of the Blackburn cult, charged Blackburn with defrauding him of $50,000. In 1929, $50,000? That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that he'd given her to help her write her book. So the district attorney launched an investigation on uncovering additional fraud claims from Blackburn's other followers and eventually bumping up the bill to $200,000. What's more, the investigation unearthed many of the strange events and disappearances outlined above. Ultimately, Blackburn was convicted of 8 counts of grand theft. She appealed the ruling, which found its way before the California Supreme Court in 1931. The California Supreme Court overturned the original verdict on the grounds that the evidence relating to the cult's bizarre activities had no bearing on the charges of grand theft, and that it was impossible to prove whether Blackburn had in fact taken the money in bad faith. May Otis Blackburn was then released from prison, but the divine order of the Royal Arms of the Great 11 was effectively finished. Blackburn went on to publish The Origin of God in 1936 and eventually died in Los Angeles in 1951. It's possible that the secrets of the Blackburn cult died with her. Ooh, crazy, crazy. So, that was our first little cult. Any questions, children? Any questions? The next one gets more interesting for you out there that might have a little bit of a foot fetish. I know that somebody's got some issues with feet around here. They might have the most beautiful feet. Might have the most beautiful feet. So it's called the Ho no Hana Sanpagoyo. Not always widely recognized, Japan is a home for many minor cults that are interesting as they are varied. The Ho no Hana is one such cult with a leader whose obsession with its actually feet led to a $900 foot inspection, which was not only mandatory, but a total fraud, too. The leader, Hogan fuck. I can't make this shit up. I can't make this shit up. That's so bad. Made the bold claim that he was a combination reincarnation of both Jesus Christ and the Buddha. Unquestionably, doubling down on his belief widened his net, and he could soon gather a following of devoted members who allowed him to diagnose problems in their lives simply by reading their feet. Eventually, thankfully, members wised up, though, and the cult quickly unraveled thereafter. Uh, oh, Jesus. I would hate to hear that. Well, best place, North Carolina. And if you own your own business, some of them will actually ship to you directly. I will tell you. A little secret. A little secret. Not legal or any medical advice or anything like that. Certain states, I think Georgia might be one of them, if you can show your business license, you can become basically one of their distributors where they will ship it to you directly. So you don't have to go through a middleman. Just saying. I don't know if that'll work, but I'm just saying that there is that possibility. Possibly, maybe. It might depend on the state. You'd have to look at your state rules. May possibly have to look at the correct location that will do that. I don't know. I don't know anything more than that. At least nothing that I'll say here. So we'll dig into this one. This one right here. We'll just call him the Honohana, because I don't know what the Sangpoyogo is a new religious movement established by Fukin Naga Hugen in 1980. So 1980 was a good time for cults. As a result of his arrest in 2001, the group was ordered to disband. Why? Why me? So he was born in a Yamaguchi prefecture in 1945 with the name of Teriushi, but took Hogan as a religious name meaning origin of Dharma or Harma or something like that. I don't speak Japanese, so I can't translate this. At the age of 19, Mr. Fuka went to Tokyo to work in the Toshiba company and is said to have visited Tokyo and Yamaguchi in his youth. Both groups are categorized as new religions. See New Religion Japan. So in 1968, Mr. Fuka established a small company, but it failed and he went into bankruptcy in 78. In deep despair over the business failure, Mr. Fuka is said to have attempted suicide, but then had a mystical experience. In this experience, he was visited in visions by high-ranking Buddhist monks, appearing one after another, culminating in the appearance of Jesus Christ. Jesus told Mr. Fuka to make the flower of Dharma blossom among all human beings. Fuka's followers interpret this message as the experience of a heavenly voice. A few months after the mystical visitation, Fuka began his new religious activities based on this revelation. He explained that the voice was truly the voice of heaven announced through the medium of his body. They ban flavored tobacco products, so you can find flavors that are marked way up. Yep. So they ordered the cult to break up. That always works. Oh, it does. It does on some of them. He explained the voice was truly the voice of heaven announced through the medium of his body. He also claimed that his movement was a supra religion. Supra. That's pretty interesting because it transcended normal religions. Fukunaga, better, published numerous books with the declared purpose of saving all human beings. Most of the books authored, at least nominally, by Fukunaga, referred to methods of economic success or recovery from illness, such as how to become a Millionaire, 1992. Heavenly Power Defeats Illness, 1992, are good examples of these tendencies. Yes, Fukunaga. So in 1987, Fukunaga, better? Or Fukunaga? Fukunaga group was registered as a religious judicial person recognized by the governor of Shizuoka Prefecture. The headquarters was located in Fuji City, and the grounds owned by the group called the Village of the Heavenly Voice. He sits on the bar stool next to his girl. Yes. In terms of doctrine and practice, Fukunaga movement has a little connection with traditional Japanese religions. Shrine Shinto, or Buddhist denominations, attracted by its unique teaching and methods of practice. The membership gradually grew and is said to have reached several thousands. You hear that? Thousands by the late 1990s. In 1986, the group began a new type of initiation, in which they called the 5 days training at the Village of the Heavenly Voice. The most important goal of the training was to modify the initiate's personalities by eradicating the former old self and accepting the new way of thinking taught by Fukunaga. At the same time, Fukunaga established a stock company called Earth Aid in 1990 with the nominal aim of promoting environmental conservation. You read it here. Earth Aid, 1990, nominal aid to environmental conservation. He has delivered lectures in many places and occasionally has appeared on television to publicize his message. He also divined fortunes under the pseudonym Kakyu Shin Joso. Yep, see? Damn it. Why me? Why do they have to have publishing such books as The Soul of the Foot Therapy for Cutting Off Disease in 1990 and The Mystery of Moon Power in 1991. Yo, expert, how you doing? Yes. This is my life. I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna burn in hell for this. At least I won't go alone. Y'all are gonna join my cult, right? It'll be a fun cult. It won't. I could publish some books called Soul of Foot Therapy. Oh. Fukunaga taught his followers that all sufferings were the result of one's behavior. Okay. And that heaven imposed such sufferings as a means of informing humans of their imperfections. He also claimed that the heavenly voice teaches us the law of the macro universe. What was the other name? Just read it to yourself. Kakyu Shin Joso. Yep, this guy had a thing. with Fukin and Kukin. Yep. He also claimed that the heavenly voice teaches us the law of macro universe, warns us not to drift off course, and that it teaches us our faults without mercy. Moreover, he insisted that the heavenly voice was sometimes incompatible with social norms, since the heavenly law cannot be applied to morals and ethics invented by mere human beings. Kakishin Jusa. Okay. As a logical conclusion, he ordered members to follow his instructions regardless of whether or not they were compatible with conventional social norms. Does that not sound familiar? See, Kakyushin Joseph. What's his wife's name? Her name is Fukunaga. Mrs. Fukunaga. Or Norm. I don't know. In the latter half of the 1990s, however, criticism of the group increased rapidly as entry fees for the initiations seminars gradually inflated from the 1 million to over 2 million yen. Fukunaga's soul of the foot therapy became the focus of a particular criticism because the way he threatened clients, claiming that they might suffer cancer if they continued living as before, while they would be completely cured by experiencing his 5 days seminar. Fukunoma. Yeah. Could be. But it's Naga? I don't know. In 1996, former members who were of the Honohana group established an association together with other concerned individuals as a means of exchanging information about its activities. The establishment of this association drew hundreds of inquiries from persons wanting to resolve various problems which they believed resulted from their involvement with the group. Some ex-members filed legal actions at various local courts claiming they had been deceived into donating millions of yen to the group. Against the background of these charges, Fukunaga had leading members of the Honohana were arrested for fraud in May of 2000. The religious corporation Honohana Sangpogyo was disbanded in March 2001 as the group itself and its corporation Earth Aids were recognized as carrying excessive debts. Yeah. Yep. She does that. She does that. And yes, he probably is. See. Here. See, somebody has to be. Somebody has to be just for you. But, of course, just the peen. That's it. Just the peen. Oh, so that was a fun one. I hope you liked that one. So now we get to the little more disturbing one, or one of the disturbing ones. They do get disturbing. Oh, so much fun. So much fun. It's called the Anthill Kids. Well, we haven't got to the Carney cult. That one gets interesting too. The Anthill Kids are single handedly one of the most disturbing and nightmare inducing cults out there. Beware. And of course, they were formed in Canada between 1977 and 1989. Why? Nobody knows. This horror fest was run by Dementor in Chief Rock Thoreau. I guess I'll just call him Terry Hope. I don't know. Well, that was weird. Wow. Just went crazy. Can everybody hear me okay? If you can, hit the 1 in chat. It'll take a second for me to see it. That was odd. I feel like I'm watching myself stream. That's nice. It's very nice. It happens. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, that I don't know what happened. I do know that everything was going good, and then I saw everybody saying, Shizzy, what happened? Where are you? I don't know if you could hear me or not. And I guess I need to go back and see where I lost you guys at. Because I was talking about the Anthill Kids, and then it just disappeared. Cool Frog, can you fix Shizzy's internet? Is Cool Frog in here? Good to see him. Good to see you. 7 minutes wouldn't happen today if not for the expert. There you go. Turning off mute. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, that's just really strange that everything went wonky on me, just like I wasn't even here. It happens. It happens sometimes. And so I had to shut down my computer and get it restarted. I love doing that. Stream P Wiz, what is this place? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, Charlemagne. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you could come. Chloe's are crawling in the chat. Yes. We like Chloe's in the chat. 2, 3, 4. Boots and cats and 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 boots and cats. Can everyone hear him now? Of course they can. I'm a special kind of fool. Hope you can. Good Lord. Good stuff. Good stuff. So let's see if I can get back to where I was here. Nothing like throwing things completely out of whack. Now, if I can just find it again. The Anthill Kids. Let's see if we can pull this up. Crazy. There we go. And I will get there eventually. Give me time. Getting slow on this stuff here. Okay. Anthill Kids. Making sure I'm still streaming here. It's creepy. Very creepy. Really creepy. Grimsbar. That's the knife. Very cool. I like that. We'll listen to it later. See, even the experts giving you a shout there. All right. Crazy whenever this stuff happens. It just throws you off all kinds of ways. There we go. The Anthill Kids. I don't know if anybody heard of this yet or this part of it yet. That's what happens whenever your computer crashes. So, Anthill Kids. Creepy little shits. Very creepy little shits. Sweetie. Gang. See, you just got such wonderful people in the chat. You guys are so great. I'm glad that all of you are here, and I hate when this happens. I will get this stuff up and running here shortly. Just give me a second. I am so aggravated that just went bonkers on me. I mean, it really went bonkers where I just was there and then I wasn't there. Creepy. Yes, very creepy. Hate when that happens. Just throws you off your game. Maybe it's because I was talking about the Anthill Kids. Maybe they're going to come hunting me with sledgehammers. This is by far one of the creepiest ones. But this is how it goes whenever you're running your channel, and then for whatever reason everything just says nope, we're not going to run anymore. We're just gonna hide. Still cool. I got a couple of people over there on Rumble. Good to see you. People over on Rumble. Good to see you. This gets weird. Here we go. Like Grim says, here we go. Okay. I want to say his name is Thrall. I could be wrong. Yes, Tweety, I'm on Rumble too. I'm dual streaming. That's what happens whenever. Never mind. The Anthill Kids are single-handedly one of the most disturbing and nightmare-inducing cults out there. They were formed in Canada between 1977 and 1989. Why the big variation? That's a big variation in time span. We're talking about like a decade difference, a little over a decade. This horror fest was run by Dementor-in-Chief Rock Thoreau. I want to say it's Rock Thoreau. Could be wrong. Although small by some doomsday cult standards, this coven of ghouls left a lasting mark on the community they entrenched themselves in. Even now, Ontario bears the memories and scars of Thoreau's reign of terror, made up primarily of Thurot, I guess, and his dozens of concubines. This cult got its start in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Oh, cool, Tweety. Initially, Thurot ran a series of detox seminars while still a member of the church. These were aimed at helping members move beyond the abuses of drugs and alcohol, and of course, smoking, vaping, eating mollies, mushrooms, weed, quaaludes, name your poison. That's what he was doing. Helping people. Helping people help themselves. This quickly escalated, however. Before long, Thurot was convincing members of his seminars to leave their families and live with him in the wilderness. He demanded hard physical work. It's really weird because StreamYard, everything was working fine. Then it just went carbs. Yeah, carbs too. Carbs. Got to get off them carbs. This quickly escalated, however, before long. Thurot was convincing members of his seminars to leave their families, live in the wilderness. He demanded hard physical work and preached this as a means to clearing the mind and the spirit. Amazing. Well, there was, Tweety. You got 8 people in there. I see over there. I see there's 8 people watching right now. All you got to do is just reach down there, hit that thumbs up in the Rumble, and you're good. Pretty easy. Doggone it. Anybody can do it. You just give that thing a little love. Give it a little love. That's all you got to do. Give that thumbs up. Make it worth it. If you hit it 3 times, it's just like hitting it once. This quickly escalated and preached this as a means to, he demanded hard physical work and preached this as a means to clearing the mind and spirit. This physicality soon ventured into the realm of torment, though. Members who did not comply had their legs broken with sledgehammers. You ever seen that movie Misery? I read the book. The book's much more gruesome than the movie. The movie with what is it, Kathy Bates, where she's taking a sledgehammer, "You will always be with me," and just hobbling him. His transition from extreme detox hippie to demented cult leader was swift. After being kicked out of the church, and this is the Church of the Seventh-day Adventists, his behavior turned sadistic. He nailed children to trees, forced followers into home surgeries, amputated limbs as punishment, and even forced cult members to eat their own feces, all of which they did. In 1989, member Gabriel Lafayette was horrifically mutilated by the cult leader. Lavallée escaped, though, and contacted authorities after a hellacious nightmare that nearly took her life, but seemingly not her resolve. She lived to see her captor and tormentor given a life sentence. Justice did not entirely prevail, though, as Roch Thurot was killed by his cellmate in 2011. That guy is going to be one that we're going to follow on a different stream. Maybe I will dig into that one because it's pretty intense. Pretty intense. They actually made a movie about him. I believe it's a like French Canadian movie. Very, very interesting character. Very, very interesting character. But that one called ASMR. Oh, not even close. Not even close. I got my own cult. They're a bunch of nuts. Hey, Melissa Jane. Good to see you. Good to see you. I know you're going to be hanging with the expert, I'm sure, tonight. You guys probably doing a show? I bet you guys probably be doing it, if not already. Got it started, fired up. As you know that the expert likes to just get it cranked up. He gets the juices flowing. He likes his nuts. Damn right. Damn right. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? The games were very accepting. Taco Tuesday. See, that's that right there. Taco Tuesday. Now, if you guys haven't seen the expert, whenever he does his Taco Tuesdays, oh, some of the best tacos. So tasty. So tasty. Yeah. We will save the anthill kids for another day. We'll save that for another day. But don't worry. Don't worry. We've still got more tonight. We've still got some more tonight. So we'll bring this one up here. Whew. Right, this one right here. The Order of the Solar Temple. This is an interesting one. Don't worry, it's not all horrors and sex crimes. The Order of the Solar Temple was a relatively peaceful cult that had a big focus in New Age theology and aliens. Essentially, they believed that all of life was a sort of mirage. It wasn't real. And when life was over, we simply spiritually moved on to other planets. Sounds a little bit like Scientology. Between 1994 and 1997, however, more than 70 of its members fell victim to murder suicide events. In every situation, members were wearing ceremonial roles, which carried with it the idea that the events came with a great deal of planning. These deaths haven't stopped the group, though. They are still around and committed to their beliefs to this day. While it's hard to really tie down concrete numbers on most cults, membership is estimated to hover around 150 to 500 members just for the Order of the Solar Temple. Chianti. It's the Invisalign. Gets liquid behind it. My teeth are just floating in there. Feels weird. I have a hard time saying S's because it goes through the plastic. It's really weird. But we're getting to the Carney cult. Carney cult. Mm-hmm. So, did you ever hear about the Carney cult? Probably not. This was a blip on the cult radar, which kicked off in 1991 after a traveling carney named William Alt discovered some of his fellow carnies were engaged in a new cult called Satan's Disciples. Okay. This cult, however, already had a number of members, 4 to be exact, and they weren't open to new members. Alt's hand was forced in blackmailing the cult. The wayward Carney found himself in an even stickier place. After Alt's fumbled attempts at blackmail, the group invited him out to a secluded area where they drove him up to a makeshift altar. Excitement turned to fear when the group, instead of welcoming Alt, bound and gagged him. They then tortured and mutilated the desperate man, driving him right into the arms of death as they invoked Satan and called on him to give them special powers and wealth. When they were finished, the 4 men, Mark Goodwin, Jimmy Pennick, and brothers Keith and David Lawrence, cut off Alt's head and hands. They also attempted to burn him, which of course failed. In the end, they dumped his body in a field. The horrible sight was discovered by the father of 2 of the men involved, which I imagine were the brothers. The horrible sight was discovered by him, and all 4 members of the cult were later arrested, tried, and sentenced to a range of 8 to 60 years between them. And if you want to hear how gruesome that one is, stay tuned for our future episodes. I'm going to do a whole series on some of these because they're a little creepy, and I can't cover all of them in one night. But if you like what you're hearing, hit that thumbs up button, hit that like, hit that subscribe. I know you guys are doing it anyway because you're awesome. Whew. And we're only about halfway there for tonight, so that's why I will do some more of these in future ones. I'll probably do them on a, on a regular night. Um, maybe I'll pick out a night of the week that I'll do it, like a Friday or Saturday, or probably not Friday or Saturday, because I won't be able to stream this Saturday. Saturday. I got this get together I'm doing this weekend. You know how it goes. 3D world, always interfering with the 2D world. Well, but that's okay. It's okay. Whew. So, what do you think? You guys liking it so far? You liking what's going on? If you are, just stay tuned, because I will go into these a little bit deeper. Some of them require a little more research, and I might have some people on to join in to talk about some of these freaky things. So, this one's a good one here. The superior universal alignment. Another UFO cult. That this person that wrote the story was even unfamiliar with. The Superior Universal Alignment was a pseudo-religious cult formed in Brazil in the 1980s. Led by Valentia de Arenade, the group believed Jesus was an alien. Okay, let's see. That sounds reasonable. When do we get the Kool-Aid? Dude, I am not. I told you, it's punch and pie. I didn't offer Kool-Aid. Duck on it. Punch and pie. Get it right. Punch and pie, guys. Even more interestingly, they believed he would return to rescue believers before the end of time. So, hello, Scientology. That's not where they proved problematic or even all that strange, however. Where the cult really became an issue was with their strange belief that all boys born after 1981 had to be purged from the world. Andrade forced followers to leave their families behind and abandon their children, all in an effort to be cleansed enough to join her on the spaceship. Predictably, though, things got violent between 1989 and 1993 when the cult began sexually assaulting, mutilating, and killing young boys. In total, at least 19 boys were victimized or killed by the semi-religious sect. They ranged in age from 8 to 13 years old. Does history repeat itself? Look at that. He's even hanging out here. Yes, Melissa Jane. While 6 of them died, another 5 of them at least were never found. Some escaped, but not before being drugged and subjected to the horrors and assault and mutilation. Yeah, that's another one that I will be doing probably exclusively on Rumble, because it's a little dark, So Kashi Ashram, but this one right here is probably one of the most interesting ones of the bunch. You'll understand. So Kashi Ashram was it's never a good sign when a new religion is formed on the back of hallucinations. Darth. But that's exactly how Kashi Ashram got started in the 1970s, conceptualized by a New York housewife who renamed herself Majasati Bugashava, whatever. The spirit group took off and became a favorite of beloved celebrities like Julia Roberts. Imagine that. Julia Roberts, you don't realize this, but both her and her brother are from here in Georgia. Amazing, isn't it? They're both Georgia kids. So let's see if I can pull this up, because as much as people might talk about this particular group, it gets a little deeper. Gets a little deeper. Pretty crazy stuff. Initially centered on the ideas of compassion and universal humanity, the cult spiraled out of control, as all cults do. It's time for them to exit. My brother went off to school with Julia. Yeah. Yep. Especially if you were in South Georgia. Yeah, more than likely. Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me at all. After its last explosion in the early 2000s, Kashi Ashram fell under the eye of authorities. Soon, former members began coming forward with disturbing tales of financial misconduct, physical and mental and emotional, and even sexual abuse. As if that wasn't bad enough, it was also alleged that Maja had engaged in kidnapping and beatings, including the beating of a child who accused a church member of molestation. It was alleged that the Maja passed away in 2012, but none really know for sure. The cult, however, it continues to thrive to this day and is still in existence around the world. And if you don't know about it, we'll talk about this right here. The chanting started at dusk. Scores of sweaty followers squeezed around the platform, closed their eyes, their features slackened, and they rocked to a rhythmic mantra echoing inside the cramped hall before them. Sinking into an ocean of pillows was Maja Sati, the guru. In the candlelight, her gold-wrapped wrists and white teeth glowed like fire. She was the one who could swallow their pain and make it vanish. A hush settled over the room. When the Christ first came to me, she called out in a Brooklyn accent as thick as her long equine hair. When I anxiously awaited for him to appear, afraid that he would, and more afraid he wouldn't, I turned on every light in my house. When he appeared, then my house looked dark. To his brightness, the house looked dark. The guru paused, and a chubby blonde girl wearing white rimmed glasses began plucking a one-stringed instrument. The guru smiled, and her grins infected the audience like a contagion. Her black eyes were big, her smile widened. The moment was near. But the guru began, quelling the mantra with one word. The guru is greater than God. Flesh man knows the guru you can see and touch and feel. God, unless you're perfect, you cannot. Her closed eyes. She closed her eyes. The guru, she intoned as the supplicants melted into a trance, is greater than God. The phrase would reverberate across the decades from this 1977 retreat in California until her death last year. Maja's infallibility was nearly unquestioned by her followers. At an isolated Florida ranch near Sebastian, 20 miles north of Vero Beach, she cocooned herself with hundreds who'd abandoned home and family to worship her like a deity. Together they formed what would become the Kasha Rashrams. I am the breath. I am inside you. Creepy. For many to exist near Maja, a beguiling New Yorker with a 10th grade education, was rapture. To them, her dogma was beyond the mortal ken. There was incredible benevolence and service to the sick and dying, which eventually afforded her audiences with Pope John Paul II and the Dalai Lama, and lured high-profile fans like actress Julia Roberts and folk singer Arlo Guthrie. But there were also stories of profound cruelty and despotism. 8 former followers interviewed by the Times say that, by New Times, this is Miami New Times, say Kashi members were beaten for disobedience or spiritual cleansing. A man said he dunked his head into a vat of red paint because Magi had asked him to. Mass teenagers reportedly battered a 13-year-old boy with rocks inside socks because he'd angered their leader. We did that in the military, maybe. In the church's 35 years of existence, adherents claim abuses include beatings, pedophilia, forgery of official documents, and extortion occurred by order of Majaya. According to the New Times, analysts have never before disclosed court filings, psychological studies, police records, and dozens of interviews with former members. Kasha Ashram fits every criteria of a destructive cult, says Rick Ross, a nationally recognized authority based in New Jersey. And most defining element of a cult is a charismatic leader. Oh, yes. Yes. You have. Yes. Yes, you've seen quite a bit about that particular person. But we're not going to continue this today. We're going to continue this another day. This particular story. Because it's long. This is a long story. And it's very interesting read. But if you'll see, they're talking about it 5 years later after a death in 2012. They still are operating. They're still doing permaculture. They're still bringing people into their cult. They still follow the same teachings. And they believe that they're doing great things. Maybe they are. Shalom. Maybe they are doing great things. You never know. You never know with these folks. Whew. Crazy? Yes, it's crazy. They're still in existence. They're still running their little group. That's why you have to be very, very careful of who you basically sign all your means over to. But it gets even more interesting because we've only got two more that we're going to talk about tonight before I jump out of here. These will be interesting ones, to say the least. This gets weird and crazy every time. All right. The Fall River Cult. One of the least talked about cults, the Fall River Cult was a horrifying nightmare headed by pimp Carl Drew and his girlfriend, sex worker Robin Murphy. Doesn't this sound familiar? Of course, different Murphy. Maybe that's why he changed his name. What do you think? Maybe he changed his name. Jack. This cult was discovered when the body of a 17-year-old trafficking victim, Doreen Levesque, was found placed outside a Massachusetts high school. She had been badly beaten and her hands and feet were bound. Police were baffled, and this confusion only amplified when the body of another sex worker was discovered on a makeshift altar a year later. In the end, it was discovered that sex workers from around the area were being abducted and sacrificed in rituals organized by Drew and Murphy. The two believed that human sacrifice would bring them power and success, as well as the favor and access from Satan. The cult was busted only after a sex worker named Karen Marston A part-time girlfriend of Robin Murphy reached out to authorities. She feared she was going to be the next victim, but authorities didn't take her claim seriously. Tragically, that all changed when Marsden's toothless skull was discovered in April 1980. Carl Drew was arrested in relation to Marsden's death, along with another man who was associated with another murder. Girlfriend and accomplice Murphy later pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, but was given a reduced sentence for her role in agreeing with a plea deal in which she would testify against Drew and accomplice Andrew Maltius. Yeah. Creepy. But this last one is even creepier. The Vampire King cult. We're nearing on the end of this. Take a deep breath. This one's definitely gonna freak you out, especially whenever you see what this guy looks like. Marcus Wesson, the 50-year-old leader of the Vampire King cult. For decades, this incestuous family cult ran in total secrecy, well, as all good cults do. Wesson controlled his follower through traditional means of manipulation and physical abuse, textbook. But he mixed his strange delusions with Christianity and vampirism. Believing that Jesus was a vampire, he taught his followers that the end times were upon them. He shut his sons and daughters up inside his home and separated them from one another, fearing they would form incestuous relationships. Meanwhile, Wesson took his own daughters as wives, abusing them so horrifically that they were unable to bear children as adults. In 2004, Wesson announced that he was moving his daughters and their children to Washington State, which set alarm bells off. At last, for the loved ones, fearing for the safety of the children, police were called, but Wesson took action into his own hands. Covered in blood, he stepped out of his compound and revealed his horrors. Behind the house were piled the bodies of his children, 9 in total, surrounded by antique vampiric coffins. Rather than give up his power, Wesson had killed his own family. He sits on death row to this day, convicted of 9 counts of murder and several more counts of rape and sexual assault. The main takeaway here: there is no one hard, fast rule with cults. They can happen anywhere, and anyone can fall prey to them. Being honest about this aspect of our society is one of the prime keys by which we can prevent these cults from popping up in our own communities. We don't need cults to thrive. We need to acknowledge our deeper truths and show up for self-fulfilling lives that matter. Let me tell you a little bit about this particular guy, because he's pretty interesting. Whenever you see him, you're going to be slightly surprised. I know I was. I was like, I've never heard of this guy. And I cannot imagine this guy right here. Brought to you by the Daily News. This is who we're talking about right here. Just a story of the Vampire King of Fresno. He kills 9 children. At more than 300 pounds, with dreadlocks cascading past his waist, Marcus Wesson, 57, not what people generally think of whenever they hear the word vampire. Oh, thank you, dear. Thank you. I appreciate it. But when he stepped out of his home on March 12th, 2004, one detail perfectly fit the image of the undead. He was covered in blood. Police had been called to the house of the Golden State Freeway in Fresno to break up a domestic disturbance, a panic call from a woman who said her child was being held captive. It quickly became the scene of a mass murder. The corpses were piled in a bedroom. It took hours to figure out exactly how many there were since the bodies were tangled up in bloody clothes. The final count was 9, all under the age of 25. The 3 youngest under 2. All had been shot in the eye with a .22 pistol, which was found in the pile near the hand of the oldest victim. They were all still warm when police entered the room. No, 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 not doing that. Oh, Wesson was docile as he walked away in handcuffs to be charged with 9 counts of murder. But while the slaughter of the innocence was the worst of his crimes, it was just the final act in the horror story that was life with this father. Those were his kids right there at a very young age. Wesson fancied himself the leader of a new religion based on Christianity and vampirism, wrote Monty Francis in his book On the Case by Their Father's Hand. Incest was a big part of this new religion. In incest, one produces the seed of perfection of oneself, Wesson wrote in The Light of the Light for the Dark, a tome in which he described his new faith and his conviction that he and his children were vampires. The victims were all of his own blood, his children or grandchildren he had fathered with his daughters and nieces. The man who would become the vampire king of Fresno was born in Kansas in 1944. The eldest of 4 children of Ben and Carrie Wesson. The father was a drunk and a child abuser who disappeared when Marcus was a child. Friends and relatives remember Marcus as a kind and good student who sang in his school choir and loved trains. He enlisted in the Army in '66 and served as an ambulance driver for 2 years. Upon his return, he moved in with an older woman, Rosemary Solario, who had several children from a previous relationship. She and Marcus had a child together, but before long, his eyes strayed to Solario's 8-year-old daughter. How do I know if you're in need of a cult? Yeah. Well, you can always just join my cult. It's really simple. Jeez. Don't people know? He married the girl in 1974 when she was 14 and he was 27. They had 10 babies. One of them died as an infant. Wesson moved his family around California, living in tents, on boats, shacks, trailers, and various houses. They got by with welfare and food stamps, often putting meals on the table by sending the children dumpster diving. With addition of nieces and nephews from his wife's sister, there were eventually 16 children in the clan. School was not on the agenda for any of them. Wesson took care of their education. Loving. Wesson's lessons in sexual technique was a big part of the girls' curriculum. Their domestic responsibilities included washing his dreadlocks and scratching his head and his armpits for him. That's Sabrina April Wesson, 25, one of Marcus's daughters, who was shot through the eye with a .22. Instruction on oral sex started at an early age, 8 or 9. The girls would later testify. He married his daughters, Kiani and Sabrina Wesson, and started to have babies with them also. Nieces Ruby Ortez and Rosa Sofina Solania also bore his children. When they were old enough, the girls took jobs outside the home to support the clan. Wesson kept his children under control through fear and violence. He offered sermons that said nothing was more important than keeping the family together, not even life itself. Police, he preached, were the devil in disguise, and essay or suicide was an acceptable way to escape them. Not surprisingly, cracks started to appear in the Weston fortress as the children grew older. Two of his nieces ran away. On March 12th, they returned with the intention of taking their babies with them. Weston refused, leading to a screaming fight outside the house. Ortiz and Solorio, called the police for help. Weston met police at the door, told them to wait, and then disappeared into the house. When he appeared at the door again, his clothes were covered in blood. 9 of his children, including the babies of Ortiz and Solorio, were dead. And this is Brian Kesey Weston was 17. Weston did not take the stand at his trial, which started in June of 2005. His attorneys tried to raise doubt that he had pulled the trigger. Weston's children had been so brainwashed that they believed suicide was better than being separate from him. His attorney implied that the oldest daughter, 25, Sabrina Weston, had shot everyone else before turning the gun on herself. The jury didn't buy it and found Weston guilty of 9 counts of murder and 14 counts of rape and molestation. The sentence was death. Weston's surviving children have struggled to move on with their lives, chronicled in part in the book Where Hope Begins by Elisa Sofios. In 2011, Gypsy Weston at 2011, Gypsy Weston at 27 became the first member of her family to earn a college degree. Weston was marched off to San Quentin's death row, where he slimmed down, trimmed his dreadlocks, and waited. And according to this, which was in 2014, he is still waiting. Rough stuff. I don't know. And my suggestion for anybody that falls to prey to one of these cults, there's always someone out there listening, waiting for you to come forward. Don't do it. That is my suggestion in the first place. But if you do find yourself in that situation, because it does happen, there's a way to get out of there. There is help for you. There's always help. Wow. I just brought the whole group down. Deep, dark secrets. No, I don't run a cult. I'm pretty chill. Couldn't I don't know. I don't have enough time in my day to handle being a cult leader. I really don't. I barely have enough time to do anything else. Barely have enough time to stream. I do this out of the love and the fun, and you guys make it worth my while. So those are the ones I'm going to cover over the next, few weeks. Not every night, because I can't bring it down like this every night. I got to have some good happiness, some happy thoughts, happy feelings. Don't want to have something like this to make people be brought down. Nope, don't want to do it. But everybody, that was a topic to warm the heart. I don't know. I find it very dark. And I can understand how people can fall prey to manipulative people. It takes a different kind of mind to be getting away from those kind of people. And people are easily drawn to these kinds of things. Easily drawn in by thinking that someone's words might be the greatest thing. Make you appreciate the good people in your life. Yes, it will. It will. That expert actually gave me this idea, thanks to him. And it wasn't that he gave me the idea of covering this, but we were discussing something, and it was very interesting to me that how easily people can be manipulated into falling prey to bad ideas that somebody might make them sound good. And I've spoke on the cult of personality before. I've spoken about religion before and why I don't buy into a lot of aspects of religion. I'm not saying that other people shouldn't. I just tend to question things a little bit more. And if you want to avoid getting trapped in a cult, question the motives of the people that you're following. And if they're good, your answers won't involve shaming you or making you feel bad. That's if their intentions are noble. Not all religions are noble. And I'm not talking about your mainstream religions or any sort of church. I'm talking about your cults. Not all of them are horrible, bad things. As I showed with the one, that they're still doing fine, wonderful things. They're doing little perma gardening and things of that sort. But there might be people within those groups that do bad things to one another, such as it goes in the real world, outside of those groups. But be careful. Protect your children. Protect the ones you love. And if you get someone that says, well, if you love me, you would do X, Y, or Z, well, chances are it's not going to be a good place to be when it all boils down. You shouldn't have to prove your love to anybody. You shouldn't have to prove your resolve to a certain religion or certain ideal. And you'll find you live a much happier life because you'll surround yourself with people that love you for you, that appreciate you for you. Even if you're faulty, flawed, broken, those people will care for you. Like Jay says, Charlemagne, definitely a family. Moo. Yes. It's interesting. I'll be doing these just to give you a taste of some of the stuff that I'm going to do. I'll do these for a little while. I won't do it every night, but I'm going to bring some of these types of groups to light. We'll start out with some of the unknowns. How's that? Some of the unknowns of these predatory groups. Work our way into some of the more well-known ones. Let you decide. Keep that decision open. Keep your mind open to it. And help them out where you can. I've never run a cult. I've never been in a cult. I do not suggest joining a cult if you can avoid it, or any sort of religious group. That. But that's just me. You do you, I'll do me. And I'll help you out any way I can, but I won't join in. I won't join in on that. Well, with that, all the downers, everybody, I'll probably jump over, check out the initiated me with a delicious and HHH White Russian. That's a good initiation. Shalom. That is a very good initiation. Well, you guys know where to find me. I'm going to go check out the expert for a little bit, get some sleep tonight. I'm trying to get back on a regular sleep schedule. Ooh. Oh, definitely. To be Flair, thank you. Thank you for coming in and hanging out, giving the love. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And just be careful of the glowies. Don't join the glowies. It's a horrible cult. Horrible cult. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Go check out the expert. See who else is running tonight. I'm sure there's quite a few people that are out there streaming. Of course, you got Cool Frog in the morning. If you're an early bird like I am, you can usually catch him pretty early. And, of course, Melissa Jane, my dear, thank you for coming by. We always appreciate you. You are a sweetheart and a soul train. But everybody, have a wonderful night and say goodnight to the little turtles. Peace, y'all.
Exótica.